Welcome. Welcome. This is Become a Game Writer with me, Adam Dolin. I am really, really excited. Becoming a game writer isn't a straightforward path. I know of all of the game writers I know, all of them have very different stories. So here is my experience. These are two different credits for two different games for pretty much the same job. And arguably, I did more narrative design on Ragnarok than I did on God of War. Also, notice that Ragnarok doesn't have narrative designers, it just has technical narrative design. And there's a whole host of reasons for that that aren't really relevant to this topic. But the point I'm trying to make is that the definition of narrative designer varies from studio to studio, and sometimes, as you can see here, project to project, which makes it a really difficult position to hire for. As creatives, naturally, we're going to pride ourselves on caring more about the artistic endeavor of making games. And we'll just let the business decisions happen from the people who care about the business. But, games are art, but games are also a business. And they're an incredibly lucrative business for some, mostly the C-suite execs. Inky, rather, is the text editor that Ink uses. The nice thing about it is that it gives you a live, unlike RenPy, which you have to save your script and then launch the game to see if your changes worked. There might be a quicker way to do that. I haven't figured it out yet. Inky shows you this stuff in real time. This is pretty basic advice, but you would be surprised how many people ignore it. I once had a college student email me out of the blue asking for advice and also telling me how much smarter he was than his professors, and also attaching a 5,000-word essay on why he thought God of War's story wasn't very good. This is a real thing that happened. Look, it's taken many years for me to get comfortable receiving criticism about my work, but I'm there now. I can read criticism of my work okay, but that's not the right setting to criticize someone's work. Don't be that guy. In general, when you start with some general themes that we saw earlier, and you let your characters that you've created kind of be themselves and then develop them through obstacles, through the plot, this sort of results in a better, more organic story, because the themes might shift as you write your story. Just because your title is junior, that doesn't mean that you don't have any authority. You could be the authority on something, even if your title doesn't say that you are. And sometimes people with, director titles might not have authority because the way that they use their title makes people trust them less. The structure of your plot should be driven by the choices that your characters make as they face obstacles. And those obstacles and how your character reacts to the obstacles, that is what develops the character. And the character's development is deeply intertwined with the overall story, with the plot. We understand turning points and what drives a scene and where the conflict comes from and what a resolution can look like. All of that comes into play when you're doing a writing test for a studio. So everything that I'm about to show you are writing test prompts that I've received throughout my career. Just saying like, oh, you have to focus is cruel optimism. Because the reality is that sometimes it's not possible to block off an hour of no interruption. Some of you have kids. Some of you might be caretakers. It's hard out there. So I don't have like a silver bullet solution for this. I'm mostly trying to convince you that you shouldn't beat yourself up if you're having difficulty focusing. Don't engage in self-doubt or don't put yourself down. Or if you do, like, just be kind to yourself. Do what you can. I want to introduce as many of these sort of interactive tools as possible in this class, is because in general, most of your large AAA studios that have sort of intensive dialogue like this are going to have their own tool that you're obviously not going to have access to. Larian, for example, they have a specific tool to write their scripts, but they ask for the test in Twine. And in general, the position of game writer needs to know how to write a good scene and use screenwriting software to do that. And everything other than that is just icing on the cake. Just so excited to get started with you guys. And I hope everybody has a great night. I'll see you back here tomorrow.